Hey, it's Cap's CarCast. I want to talk about a small, tiny mistake. It could have been big. It was a mistake. Let's drive.
Get down. Get down. Get down.
I'm not the best manager in the world. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm just not. That's a sad truth. Here's what a mistake that I made in a managerial stint that I had, in the past, and it was failure to constantly communicate. I mean, constantly. So we were running along at breakneck pace. We had a lot going on. We were making big sweeping changes. And I kind of took it for granted that the team was with me, if you will. That and why, in hindsight, is because I had a lot in my head that I assumed they understood, and I realized later that they didn't understand it. So here's what happens in that case, or at least what happened to me. Because I had assumed that they understand perfectly clear where we were headed, I began to resent some of the behaviors of the team, people on my immediate team. And small things ended up becoming big things in my eyes, okay? Now, ultimately, the responsibility rested first with me, okay? Because instead of being resentful of behaviors that were running contrary to the direction in which we were heading, okay, instead of that, I should have used that as a red flag and as a cue to reinforce and to understand with that team member, hey, are we on the same page here? Hey, here's what I see you doing. It doesn't really match up with where we're headed. Do we need to understand and talk in more depth about where we're headed? And this would have done a couple of things. For me, it would have helped me understand sooner rather than later if the employee was the issue, that they just weren't going to buy in, they were going to be a problem, and we had to make a choice to either help them buy in or get bought in and contribute to their level of their ability or move on. It would have helped me evaluate my talent much better. Also, it would have helped me to engage that talent and build a more trusting, stronger relationship with that individual. Okay, so I dropped the ball on it. I gotta be honest. I mean, I'm looking back on it now, and I literally dropped the ball on it. I took a big swing and a miss, right? And I learned a big lesson from it because the resentment built, and there was more conflict, and it never really came to a head until almost a year into it, when I realized, holy smokes, I wasn't communicating as effectively as I should be. For the employee, what it does, it increased that level of contribution and engagement. Now let's assume that they're not the problem employee, because that does happen every now and again, right? Or the problem teammate, or the one that's just not going to click with the team. So let's put that aside. But if they're a valuable member of the team, they have incredible talent, and they can contribute, I missed the opportunity to pull that out, to surface that, to bring it to the top in a way that's going to make them feel incredible about their ability, their contribution to the team. It's going to give them a voice. That's going to allow them to freely ask questions about the direction, maybe even challenge the direction, to give me more information to make a more powerful decision. Okay? Listen, there's a lot of nuance in the way that these relationships work and the way you kind of build and structure a team, and we can't miss those opportunities. I missed it. I don't want you to miss it, and that is the reason for the topic today. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. I love me some CarCast. Sometimes they're tougher to do. I'm not going to lie to you. Today was one of those times, but I think we arrived at a good point. You tell me. But mostly, come on over to YouTube and subscribe. I'd love to see you there. And I'd love to see you on the next ride.